WCLN 1170 Radio and Star Communications Channel 16 proudly present the We Should Know Show, an upbeat, informative look at people, places, and issues facing our community. This education-based analysis of issues will remain positive and informative. Celebrating 15 years of bringing you the We Should Know Show, here's your host, J.W. Simmons.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We Should Know is on the air. My name is J.W. Simmons, your host. I want to thank you for being with us today. Our guest is Dr. Tommy Newton. Many of you know Dr. Newton. Dr. Newton, thank you for being with us today. You've been in the, I'm going to call it public service business, basically all your career and a huge part of your life. In 2021, you decided you were going to step down after 38 years as a medical physician right here in Clinton. I've seen you on the landscape out there. Many times I'll run into you at the grocery store, and if I'm talking to you, there's people lined up. I remember one day I was standing there, and all of a sudden we're chatting, and I'm looking at about 4 or 5 people lining up just so they could speak to you. Well, that tells me that you've been doing the right thing for the right reason. Today's show is another one of those examples, and we're going to be talking about children. We're going to be talking about Samaritan's Purse. And more importantly, we're going to be talking about Operation Christmas Child. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, JW, for having me. I appreciate that. Well, it's a privilege to talk about this marvelous ministry.
Well, it is indeed a ministry, and you and I both have talked a bit off camera this morning about the needs in the community and that kind of thing. Let's start out, and I could do a whole show just talking about your career, but let's start out this morning just kind of explaining Samaritan's Purse, and so explaining how this whole thing evolved with a shoebox and putting this stuff in it at Christmas for children, which I find fascinating. And first of all, I guess we could look at it and say, a reference just from a religious point of view, Samaritan's Purse comes from the book of Luke. And a very, very weighty story. So I'm going to let you pick it up anywhere you want to.
Well, let me start out with the slogan for this year. Slogan for this program, Operation Christmas Child, is it's all about Jesus. So it's not about me. It's not about others. It's all about Jesus. So everybody is pretty well familiar with it or have heard of Samaritan's Purse before. It's a international disaster relief. That's where people know, they're a lot of times the first people to get to a place of disaster, such as the hurricane disaster in the western North Carolina mountains with Hurricane Helene and, other things. You hear them all the time of being, and they do have a group of volunteers that they dispatch, on the spot, for disaster relief. So, the program that I want to talk about today, Operation Christmas Child, is a part of that organization. It's a project of that. And Operation Christmas Child started in the early 1990s. Originally, it actually started in the United Kingdom. And in 1993, I believe, a minister from Charlotte approached Franklin Graham about doing some shoebox gifts for children in war-torn Bosnia. So so he was able to get churches to contribute to make up like 11,000 boxes that year to send to kids in Bosnia. And so it has really expanded and grown over that time frame, such that last year almost 12 million shoeboxes were sent worldwide, and so and their goal this year is like 12.5 million, and so that is and they go to over 100 countries worldwide for children in need, mostly third world countries.
12 billion. So for ability to be able to conceptually understand this, 12 million. Does these boxes, are they created in churches in North Carolina and all the states? And you mentioned the United Kingdom and European countries. Who and what is the push behind the people that actually create the boxes and deliver them to be sent? Where does that come from? Is it a large population or just a certain region?
Actually, shoeboxes are collected in several countries. I won't get them all right. Sure. Mostly in the United States, but there are some in Australia, United Kingdom, several different European countries where they're also collected. But most of them probably do come from the United States. And it is actually a partnership between primarily local churches here to partner with churches worldwide in the countries where these shoeboxes go to. It is mostly a volunteer-run organization. There are 19,000 worldwide year-round volunteers, 11,000 of them being in the United States. I happen to be one of those 11,000 as of a couple of years ago. And so, so that's how these things, that's how the organizations run. And it is quite complex, but it's also simple. The mission is each one of those shoeboxes is an evangelism opportunity.
When I look at it and I think about what you do, it's more, and I want you to kind of elaborate on it. What you do is more than just, say, Sampson County. You have a pretty good sized region that you help coordinate the flow of and help folks understand what they need to put in the shoebox, how they need to pack it, why they need to do that. All of that kind of is part of your educational part of Push Out.
So, yes, sir. So my actual position, I guess, is I'm on the church relations team for Sampson County and Cumberland County. That's how this team is called, the Eastern Sandhills team. So people that are in church relations like myself are basically the liaison between Operation Christmas Child organization and local churches. So we are coaches, resources, encouragers to local churches. And so I help encourage churches all over this county to in an organized fashion, have their members fill shoeboxes, collect them, and get them in the process to be sent overseas. And so that's really what my volunteer responsibilities are. And it for me, it's been great because so many people around this county, as you've alluded to, I've had contacts because a lot of people around this county I took care of for a number of years. So I've been able to reconnect with a lot of my old patients who are project leaders in different churches or have certain positions in churches, and try to encourage them to be involved. A lot of churches in Sampson County and Cumberland County are involved already, and I'm just putting a face with the program so that they've got
the relationship's already there.
Absolutely, and that's been a great thing so far for me. As you know, we both are sort of semi-retired.
Yeah.
You still have that urge. You still have that inner feeling to serve.
Absolutely.
And so I still had that. I do, as we talked about, I do a sort of a part-time teacher and coach with a statewide nonprofit, and I'm helping other doctors all over the state with quality improvement. But I still felt like I needed to do some more, some service. And as you alluded to, I mean, I've tried to fulfill that commitment throughout my whole career, and most of the time it's had to do with children, just like with the athletic teams at schools, and also with we've talked about the fitness renaissance program we did. I have a heart for children. And
I think that the other thing is folks that are watching and listening to this show that know you and know you like as I do from your history as a medical doctor, there's always been this thing about Tommy Newton of public service, that you're a guy that sees yourself as a service-oriented individual. And I think one of the things that comes through with the shoe boxes and Christmas is you just take it to a broader platform. And that platform involves people, and I want to make this clear, the people that have nothing. We're talking folks, if they get that shoebox that I'm looking at right here and they open it up, that is Christmas, period. And that's hard for us sometimes to conceive that there's people there that's all they see for Christmas. And if part of that opens the door to what I know is very important to you and me both, to Jesus Christ, then there's something grand going on.
Agreed. And then just to make it clear, this ain't about me. As I said to start off with, it's all about Jesus. And so my participation in this is really to spread the gospel. As I said, and it's been emphasized, that each one of these shoe boxes is an evangelism opportunity. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in a little bit. But it is, we all, Matthew 28, Jesus gave us all the Great Commission. And participating in this box, whether you're just doing one shoe box or whether you're being a volunteer like myself, you are helping to fulfill your obligation, your commandment from Jesus. And
it's a thing of when I look at it and I look at the involvement that you got, it's something I think we all need to bring close to us, and in a quiet moment, have a little, I guess, prayer and just say, what's my role in this mission? What's my role? What do I need to do? And from your point, if it's one shoebox or if it's 1,000 shoeboxes, if everybody will participate, there's a lot of people that will be exposed, again, as you pointed out, not to what's in the shoebox, but the meaning behind the shoebox. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. J.W. Simmons here, your host. The name of the show is We Should Know. We're coming to you on Star Communications TV, Channel 16, simulcast on WCLN Radio. We're talking with Dr. Tommy Newton today. Tommy, thank you for being here. Thank you for introducing us to an in-depth look at something that is referred to as Operation Christmas Child. Most folks know that from the shoebox gift. And an example is sitting here in front of us as a shoebox gift. It just kind of opened a door for us. In that box is certain things. We can talk about that, but the box is representative of something greater than what's in the box.
Yep.
Open the door and let's look at that gift.
All right. So, I want to emphasize every shoebox here is an evangelism opportunity. And we can talk about certain things to put in there, but the most important thing to put in that box is prayer. Pray over the box. Pray over what you put. I'll just show you in this particular box. There are things like this is a wow toy. They emphasize they want them to be fun. They want them to be filled, and they want them to be personalized. They encourage people to write a note to the child that's going to get it.
And put the note in the box.
About yourself. But things like toothbrushes, things like crayons, things like pencils. Those are marvelous things and appropriate things to put in there. And kids just love them. A child who gets that a lot of children who get a shoebox, it's the first gift they've ever gotten. And it makes an impact on them. And with, not only do they get, every child that gets a shoebox, not only gets a shoebox, they get this booklet right here. It's called The Greatest Gift. And it will be in their native language. It's translated to 110 languages now, and they've got about 10 more they're working on. And this greatest gift tells them the story of Jesus Christ. And so they learn about Christ with this.
And they may have never heard that name.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And then at multiple different places around the world, there are partners that are taught by different church leaders to teach about Jesus and teach about discipleship. And children will be entered into a 12-lesson series called The Greatest Journey, being taught by local people. Mm-hmm. And they will, this teaches them about Jesus Christ further, and also teaches them about how to witness to Christ, to others. Thereby, so you've got evangelism by the box itself, and by this, you've got discipleship. This teaches about discipleship. And then when children go home and talk to their friends, talk to their family about this, it multiplies Jesus's the love of Jesus Christ. And so that's a really great thing. And when children finish the greatest journey, they each get their own copy of the New Testament in their native language. And again, this is about 110 languages now, and they're working on some more. So since the early 1990s, I think there have been about 50 million children who have done that, and half of them have given their life to Christ. So just that 20-some million children have been affected by these programs themselves.
This is indeed a blessing in a box.
Mm-hmm. No question about that. No question about that.
As folks are looking and listening to this show today, I want to try to cover as much as we can to get them to understand how critically important that box is. You just covered a key aspect that I would be willing to guess a number of folks didn't realize the number of countries it's going to. And the critically piece of that is you're communicating with those folks in their own language.
Exactly. Once again, emphasize, this is an evangelism. This is not just a gift to a child. It is a gift to a child, showing love. Sure. But it is an evangelism opportunity. Each child is exposed to Jesus Christ in a lot of countries. You know, this goes to, it's been to 170 total. In some of those countries, they've never heard about Jesus Christ. And it goes to remote places. And so they will not have heard at all. Some countries aren't open to Christ. But there are people who will help sort of discreetly with this. So it goes to people all over the world. And that's part of the Great Commission.
This is a great conversation. One of the things I'm often hearing from churches, small churches and some large churches, is that, you know, the important thing is, you know, to get outside of the walls of the church. The church is great. It's a great sanctuary, but getting out from that church, moving away from the church, carrying that message further is a fundamental reality and teaching of Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. Would you say this is one of the key ways to do that?
Amen, brother. And I want to emphasize that you may not think you're making much of a difference by doing one shoebox, but you are. One shoebox can really impact a child for their life. Let me tell you a story about somebody I worked with last year. His name is Alex. He's a native of Rwanda. Mm-hmm. And I worked with him last year in the Boone Processing Center for a week and got to hear his story. He was an orphan, made an orphan by the genocides in Rwanda in the early 1990s. And He and his siblings watched his grandmother and uncle be murdered out in their front yard by neighbors, neighboring tribe. And so that was at age 4. He ended up in an orphanage in a local town, a local orphanage, and he got a shoebox at age 7. He said it was the first gift he'd ever gotten, and it let him know that somebody loved him. Fast forward, he ended up being adopted by actually an American couple, and he now works for Operation Christmas Child full time.
Wow!
And so that's full circle. And about several years ago, he got the opportunity from Operation Christmas Child to go back to Rwanda, to the orphanage where he got his shoebox, and hand out shoeboxes, which is a great thing. And during that trip, he was able to find in a prison there locally he knew the person who had murdered his grandmother and uncle. He was able to find that person, sit down with them, pray with them, and forgive them.
There are stories upon stories upon stories that God wants to tell of people who have experienced hardship, who have experienced pain, who have been used and abused. And God wants to take that story and turn it into something beautiful. He wants to take that story and turn it into victory.
The death toll has now risen to nearly 1 million dead in the small African nation of Rwanda.
It looked like the devil had taken control of hearts. The spirit of death was hovering over the whole land, even where a husband would kill a wife, where parents would kill children. There was no life. There was no life. Children were scattered like Alex.
Militias who were hunting for the Tutsis in our neighborhood, they knew that my grandmother was a Tutsi and our whole family was a Tutsi, so they started. We were among the first people who were hunted down. These militias came to our house and they said, "All of you kids, go back inside the house." And we're looking through the window while they tortured our grandmother to death. It wasn't strangers that just killed our grandmother. It was our neighbors who we knew by name. Then my aunt started getting sick. She's about to pass away and didn't know who would take care of me and my brother. She went across the street to this orphanage called Gisimba Memorial Center. We were admitted in the orphanage. Then 3 months later, she also dies. Personally, I was really, really angry and searching for something. Then Operation Christmas Child came in our orphanage, and just having something that we could call our own, that we could play with, and that could take our minds off of what happened during the war. Receiving that shoebox was just the beginning of my faith. I started to understand that the world hasn't forgotten. It reminded us that, someone out there cared for us. Minnesota. I love everything about Minnesota, but one thing, and that's the snow and the cold.
The Lord would figure out a way to do it. He had prayed that the Lord would just give him one shot, and that there was this one opportunity for him to have to get out of Rwanda.
My mom, she is a testament to the love of Jesus Christ for following God's voice, to be a mother to 2 orphans. My biological mom and my grandmother, wherever they are out there in heaven, they're, applauding her for what she's doing.
I'm just so thankful that I miss Mom. Alex has a call in his life. I don't know what it will be. I just know it will be extraordinary.
Operation Christmas Child wanted to give me that opportunity to deliver shoeboxes in the orphanage, in the same orphanage that I grew up in, and the same orphanage that I received mine. When I received that gift, I got that message of hope, which continued to answer my questions of why I was alive. And I believe, without a doubt, that Operation Christmas Child can have a big part in bringing hope and love in the people of Rwanda.
Your seatbelt must be tightly fastened, ready for takeoff.
I have felt called to be back and to help in the process of forgiveness and reconciliation, because that's what the country is going for. If there's anything I can do, that's what I want to be back and help. Coming to understand that God loved me, and God loved not just me, but everybody, including those people who killed my family. Forgiveness frees the people who committed the crime by also them having peace and understanding that Christ can also forgive them. I'm trying to go to the prison to see if I can meet with the people who killed my family and to just share the message of forgiveness that I've gotten to have through Jesus Christ. Father, I pray that you continue to bless him, Lord, and just give him peace that he deserves. Thank you for your love and your kindness. I pray that your spirit may be with him and just protect him wherever he goes, Lord, that he may have the peace that comes through you, Lord.
We saw God. We saw God's love. And after Alex confessed to him that he was forgiving him because he has trusted in Christ, he has known a God who is forgiving. The act was so humbling, after which they hugged each other. Man, I cried. I worshipped God in my heart and said, we still have a God that can really transform hearts.
Someone may hear this story and all they think of is, oh, poor guy, he lost everything. I want people to have this reaction. That is a powerful God. The God who did that in my life, protecting me through the war, is the God who is working in their lives, is the God who is with them each and every day, the God who is using something as simple as a shoebox to change a kid's life. We're at my orphanage that I grew up in. I received a shoebox here. So now I'm back to deliver shoeboxes. That's probably one of the most exciting things I'm going to get a chance to do in my life. So I'm very excited. And he cares for you, okay? Okay. To wait to see them open the box. They're so excited. They're almost saying, hey, you should change that box with me. It's like, no, because the gift that they got already is destined for them. And God is going to use that box the way he wants to use it. God has already done his work. I'm going to get out of the way. I got my box in 1995. When I was like this, just like you. Yeah. Just see the smiles on their face, just the smiles that I had when I was very young. It's a blessing in itself. And it just reminds me how blessed I was when I received my box. We're not just handing out gifts and that's it, but we follow up with a discipleship program called The Greatest Journey. Operation Christmas Child has continued to spread the gospel around the world using one simple box that carries a powerful message of Jesus Christ. You know, life is tough, but God is still faithful.
That shows you the impact that one shoebox can have on a person. It's remarkable.
The story that you just delivered has got so many messages and so much depth. We're talking a gift in turn is a gift from God. Mm-hmm. And we're talking a man that was in your presence and had to empower where you are in your journey. It had to empower everything around you to say, Tommy Newton, you're doing the right thing.
It does give you a feeling that
it's a sobering thought.
You're part of something really remarkable with that. But you're a small part, but you're a cog in the wheel.
And a necessary cog. This is things that I think when we get to the holidays and the birth of Jesus Christ, we get caught up into the noise. But these fundamental realities that you've been engaged in for some time here, particularly with this box that we're looking at and its impact, if you look at that box, you see, we're doing something and these children are going to like these little gifts. But the story you just relayed, I hope it resonates. I hope folks that are watching the show or listening to this show today will hit record and maybe go back and play that again. But the thing is interesting to me in the story is that you were with that person that many years before ended up witnessing the murder and slaughter of their family members and the journey that took place. That's got to be awesome. I'm just sitting here trying to process that. That's unbelievable.
My experience. Last year, I was able to, as a year-round volunteer, able to help at the processing center in Boone for a week. And Alex was one of my supervisors. Mm-hmm. Every morning before we started our day, we had devotional. And one of the days, Alex told his story. So I heard it straight from his mouth.
So he felt compelled, inspired to stand up and say, this is me. I just want you to know this is why you're doing this. Mm-hmm. And that answers another question, is this idea of the shoebox itself and what track it goes on. For most people, I'm thinking you're talking about several pieces of literature that's added to the box in their own language and that kind of thing. Does these boxes also go to some people in English speaking, even in the United States? Did they get boxes occasionally, whether it's orphanages or places like that?
I am not aware of them going to places in the United States.
Mostly out of the country.
Correct. But it is, so let's trace a shoebox.
Let's do it. When we come back from this break, I want to do the trace on the box so people can understand when it leaves their church doors or their house or whatever it is, where this box may go.
Very good.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in a moment. We're talking with Dr. Tommy Newton. Many people know him as Dr. Tommy Newton. But today, when you start looking at the shoeboxes and Christmas, it may be an evangelical mission.
How can your friend save you money? It's easy. Refer a relative, coworker, neighbor, or friend to Star Communications. Friend signs up for high-speed internet service. Friend's new account is confirmed. Friend gives your name to our service representative as the one who referred them to Star. You receive a $30 internet credit. It's just that simple. And even better, receive a $30 internet credit for every referral that results in a new confirmed account. High-speed internet from Star Communications. Refer a friend today.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We Should Know is on there, the name of the show. My name is J.W. Simmons. I'm your host. I'm talking with Dr. Tommy Newton. Dr. Newton, a lot of folks know you from that title. When I say Dr. Tommy Newton, right. They all of a sudden they lock in. 38 years experience here as far as a family practitioner, track record, all kinds of recognitions. But we're talking about now a box and how it becomes one of the centerpieces of something that literally throughout the world is changing lives, and people are packing this box. They're packing this box, and the Operation Christmas Child box is something that I think what we're talking about, some of these granular pieces, folks need to know more about. And that's what's in that box and how it's tracked, where it goes. How is it decided to go to one country versus another country? Why the box itself has to be scrutinized before it leaves your organization, whether it's a church that's coming to the distribution point. But when it gets to that distribution point, let's just talk about the box and its movement.
All right. So I think it'd be helpful if we trace a shoebox from the time that you pack it here in Clinton, North Carolina. So you can get your, I love for churches to do it in an organized fashion. And these are Operation Christmas Child shoeboxes. You can take a regular shoebox and pack it. You can also, from Operation Christmas Child on the website, your church can order 50 of those for about $30 that are decorated like that. And so anyway, and hand them out. And you take and do the shoebox gifts in there. And there are on their website, there are resources that give you suggestions about what to put in there, like a soccer ball, like a doll, stuffed animal, things like that. And also personal care items, like I showed you, the toothbrush, and also washcloths, even things like that, school supplies, pencils, crayons, things like that. Those are all good things to put in there and very personal for kids. They love them. And there are 3 age groups for each gender. They're boys for, I believe it's 2 to 4, 5 to 9, and 10 to 14. So when you decide to do a shoebox, you decide which child or which category that fits, and buy items that are appropriate for that child, that age child. And then pack your shoebox, pray over it, make it fun, fill it up. You see, that one's pretty full. And then again, you're encouraged to put a personal note in there about yourself. And about how you prayed for that child. So, and then the next thing that you do, whether it be your church that does this for you or whether you do it yourself, you can actually scan that little QR code, and they ask you to make a $10 donation per box to Operation Christmas Child. And what that covers, not only is the shipping over to the foreign countries, but also these programs that we talked about, the Greatest Gift, the Greatest Journey, and all the processing that goes into it before it reaches its destination. So it's well used. Once you take that, if your church is participating, you take that to your church. Your church takes these boxes to a drop-off location. Here in Sampson County, there are 2 drop-off locations at churches. One is Grove Park Baptist Church here in Clinton, and another one is Union Grove Baptist Church out in the county. And there are several over in Cumberland County. I'm not even sure how many. There are multiple, thousands of drop-offs.
And every county has a drop-off. Whether it's Bladen County,
yes, sir,
Duplin County.
And if you don't know, if you do one, you don't know exactly where your nearest drop-off is. On the website, they have a zip code locator, and they'll tell you where the nearest drop-off is. So you take that to the drop-off location. Then they are taken from the drop-off locations to a centralized place, and then taken to one of 8 processing centers around the United States. We're fortunate in North Carolina. There are 2 in North Carolina. One's in Charlotte and one's in Boone at the headquarters of Samaritan's Purse. At that place, all these boxes, the boxes, wherever it goes, the boxes are taken there. And again, volunteers, short-term volunteers who will go there and work for 2 or 3 days at a time will take each box. And they will actually inspect each shoebox, and make sure they won't interrupt the integrity of the box, but they'll make sure there aren't inappropriate items that can't be shipped and make it through customs.
And one of those is
such as liquids, such as scary things like war items, camouflage stuff, any weapons or things that could be weapons like scissors or liquids, or soap. This year, bar soap. They can't use bar soap anymore because it was having a hard time getting through customs in some countries. So if any of those items happen to be in there, if somebody didn't get the message, then they will take them out and they put them in boxes that are then donated to charities all around the United States. So nothing is thrown away in that respect. All the things that you put in a box somehow go to somebody who's in need, whether it be in the United States or in third world countries in the box. So I want to emphasize that as well. There are certain countries, I'll give you an example, certain countries, if you put an anatomically correct doll in there that has clothes on the clothes can be taken off, they won't allow that in the country. So that has to be taken out, and that'll be donated to a local, to a charity in the United States where that's not an issue. So there are, but the website, the Operation Christmas Child website has a lot of resources that will help you. And there are a lot of places that you can go online and actually order certain things that they know are okay to do that. So once the boxes get inspected, we repackage them, tape them, and these are volunteers, they're the short-term volunteers. I've done that. Mitchell has done that. There a lot of people from around here have done it. I got exposed to that through the church we attend at the beach, who've sent a group of 15 to 20 per year to work about 3 days in Boone for probably 15 years. Anyway, so those people do those things. And then they're packaged up in containers. And one of the neat things that I've experienced having been there that is really neat, when the people who load those into the containers, once they fill a container, they all gather around the boxes, they put their hands on the boxes, and they pray over the boxes before they close the container.
Wow. So this is a total spiritual journey.
It is a powerful thing. And then it goes on, then the boxes, depending on where they're going, they'll go on containers, and sometimes they go in ships overseas. And then in the receiving countries, depending on where it is, obviously it goes through customs, and then they'll go to local people, and they are then distributed with the overseas volunteers that know where the need is. They try to do one box, a child who gets a box, that's one box, that's the only box they'll get their time. That's what they try to do. So they distribute it around to different places of need. But a lot of times these boxes, and we're talking about these huge containers of shoe boxes on canoes, on donkeys, on camels, to their destination, their final destination.
They're going to locations just for a mental visual journey here. They're going to locations that the houses may be made of mud. We're talking just
remote.
Exactly. There's no electricity here. This is remote at the most deep meaning of remote.
Mm-hmm. So I have seen stories too, just again on the impact of places remote that have gotten children have gotten these boxes and have spread the news to their families and all. And churches have been started because of the shoebox in remote areas.
It's a spark. It's a spiritual spark. And millions of these boxes have gone out.
Yes, sir. Like I said, last year alone, close to $12 million boxes went worldwide.
As you're talking, I'm just sitting here thinking the importance of this message spiritually is no matter what goes on, no matter what chaos is around us, God has a way to deliver His message. And who would think in a shoebox that it could change the direction, the totality of a person's life, even probably countries?
Mm-hmm. There's the multiplication factor comes in from that evangelism opportunity.
Wow. Is there a point in time that you see this going to other steps, or will it still remain that simple shoebox going out? Is there other ways to reach people? We've become so, I guess, impacted with conveniences in this country that we don't understand the simple, tangible feeling of a gift. And then you start asking as a child the question, well, where did it come from? And then you see the literature, it all adds up. Is there anything else you see happening in the future that might go into that box?
I know that there are people that are serving in this organization that are thinking about those things. I'm not privy to those at this point. Right now, I'm just privy to this.
Right.
So I don't fully know the answer to that question, but yes. And I think this is just such a powerful message with the opportunities that we discussed earlier that it's amazing. One more thing that I did that failed to point out was if you do this, yourself and you scan that code and make the donation, that registers you will find out where that box went.
So there's actually a tracking system set up, so you'll know what country, and will you know what region in that country?
You just know the country.
Just know the country, but at least it'll let you know if it's Nicaragua or wherever it may be.
And I can tell you that because that's been part of my job at the processing center is after it's inspected and then wrapped and taped appropriately, we scan each box and scan the big carton that it goes in. So it's tracked all the way around the world.
We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and continue this journey. And we'll call it a journey with the box.
This segment of We Should Know is brought to you by the Samson Independent.
Hello and welcome to Shoebox Showdown, brought to you by Samaritan's Purse, Operation Christmas Child. I'm Stephen McMahon.
And I'm Josh Scott. Let's get ready to pack some shoeboxes. Samaritan's Purse sends Operation Christmas Child shoeboxes to children in need all over the world, together with the message of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Let's welcome our shoebox packers, Adrian and Marley. They will each be packing a shoebox with us today.
Now, what we're looking for here are quality shoeboxes. That means it's gotta be fun, it's gotta be full, and it's gotta be personalized.
Well, it looks like our shoebox packers are ready to begin, so let's get into it.
Remember, it's all about Jesus. Now let's bless some kids. Ready?
So exciting. This is where the journey of a shoebox begins. Oh, wow. Boy, look, Marley wasting absolutely no time diving right into those school supplies.
Well, and I see Adrian starting out with some fun toy options, smaller fun items that they can play with, like toy cars.
Oh, Stephen, don't mean to interrupt you, but it looks like we have a flag on the play.
Shoebox foul. No soap allowed in the boxes. Please remove and continue.
Oh, he's absolutely right, Josh. Soap is actually on the do not pack list.
And that's an important point, Stephen. The do not pack list are items that could cause problems in customs. That could be soap, as we just saw there, liquids, candy, even camouflage items fall under this list as well.
Camouflage, I didn't even think about that. Folks, you can visit this website to see a detailed list of what and what not to pack in your shoebox.
These shoeboxes are starting to get full, Stephen, and it looks like Marley is going for the wow item. It's a teddy bear! It's a teddy bear! Wow!
No, that little girl is going to love that teddy bear.
Boy, she sure is.
And look, Adrian has a choice to make here. Only room for one. It's going to be the soccer ball and a pump to go with it.
Wow! Wow! 2 solid wow items from each of our packers there.
Each child who receives a shoebox will hear the gospel presented along with their gift and be invited back for discipleship. This is a great way to show them that God loves them and we love them too.
As we near the end here, we're looking for that personalized touch with a letter and perhaps even a photo. It's really up to each shoebox packer, Stephen, to make these gifts special. Now it looks like our packers are putting the most important thing into their boxes, and that is prayer.
That's right. We certainly want each child who will be receiving these gifts to be prayed for. Usually when you send things in the mail, there's some sort of shipping cost.
Yes, there is. And in this case, a $10 donation is suggested for each shoebox.
And it looks like these guys are making their donation online so they can follow their box after it's shipped. Now that's a cool feature.
It sure is. I don't think they could fit another thing into these boxes, Stephen, but let's see what our referee has to say.
These boxes are fun, full, and personalized. 2 excellent shoe boxes. Great job, guys.
And it's good. They've done it. What an exciting day it has been watching these guys pack a shoebox. I tell you what, I'm definitely going to be packing boxes with my family this year.
Me too. And you can even pack shoeboxes online. It really couldn't be any easier, and it makes such a huge impact.
Folks, National Collection Week is the 3rd week in November. There's a drop-off location near you.
Now let's get out there and pack some shoeboxes.
Tommy, we've gone through so much information today and so many impactful ways that these things that we call shoeboxes is impacting the world. And some of them originate in small towns and rural communities. Some of them originate in large cities. One of the things I wanted to maybe touch on as in this last part of the show is the other ways that folks maybe they're not part of a church. It doesn't have to be a church. It could be a civic group. I mean, the Kiwanis Club and Rotary Club and those kind of clubs could get together and support this effort. And it doesn't necessarily mean they have to pack a shoebox. There's ways that you mentioned that they can do this with just a donation and that box will still go out. Talk to us about that.
Yep, great point. The focus is indeed on churches' involvement, no question. But you can certainly do it as an individual. You can certainly do it as a group. Let me give you a great example of something that happened right here in this county, in this town this year. Brad Spell, the Clinton High School soccer coach, wanted his soccer team to pack shoe boxes. So he got 45 shoe boxes from me, and each one of his soccer players packed a shoebox. And he's already brought them to our church to go to the drop-off location. But that is a great way for other organizations and for children to be exposed to this type ministry. So that's always an opportunity. You can do a shoebox on your own at home if you don't feel like you have the wherewithal to go shopping, to get a shoebox and to pack a shoebox, but you want to be involved, you can go on the Samaritan or to Operation Christmas Child website And for a $30 donation, they will build a shoebox for you and send it. And they'll do it. You can do that online. And they'll send it. They'll pack it for you with the appropriate items, and they'll send it to one of these countries. And most likely, the Build a Shoebox online program goes to countries where there is some danger to the workers, to the volunteers that help spread the love of Jesus Christ, because Christianity is they're not sometimes open to Christianity. And so it will go to places that are indeed very meaningful for those children, because they've never heard about Christ. Those are a couple of ways you can do it. Now, if you want to get more heavily involved in it, one way is like the church at Emma Anderson has at the beach has done for years, and you can do that even on your own. Volunteer at one of the processing centers. You can go on the Operation Christmas Child website at an appropriate time. It's usually sometime in October, early October, and volunteer to go to the processing center and do the final inspection and processing of these shoe boxes short term. And I've done that. Several people around here have done that as well. Several churches have done that to carry groups. Boone and Charlotte are the two in North Carolina, and people have gone to either or both of them. An interesting thing that happens to you, it's a moving experience to do that. You are indeed volunteering. You're helping children all over the world. When you're at one of those processing centers, every hour, roughly, they stop the whole building. And in the Boone building, there's like 18 different teams doing these inspections. They'll stop the whole building, and then a chaplain gets up front. There's a huge screen, and they will show you a video of children in a third world country receiving these boxes. And then everybody in the building will put their hands on the shoe boxes right around them, and you pray over those boxes. That is a moving experience, having done that. And you do that every hour. It reminds you how important prayer is for each box. And so that's another way to do it. Now, if you want to do a little more, you can apply to Operation Christmas Child to be a year-round volunteer. There are numerous different year-round volunteer opportunities in each area. In this area, we're in the Sampson and Cumberland County, and there's things for church relations like I'm involved in. There are things for prayer team. We have a prayer team. We have people to do logistics things. So there are media folks, helping get the word out. Mm-hmm. So there are a lot of different opportunities if you want to be a year-round volunteer with this program. So there are multiple ways to be involved in this ministry, other than just packing a shoebox. And
I think one of the things that has struck me in our conversation today is this shoebox has become a way for, I'll say, church people and churches oftentimes that feel themselves being kind of closed into prayer service and on Sunday, and then they leave, and then they come back Sunday, and that it's now open an opportunity to push those doors wider open. And as I heard some years ago, a minister make the statement, don't talk about it, be about it. This is everyone's opportunity. If they're looking something, this is their opportunity to be about it. And I can't think of anything more important than helping in some way direct a life that has never heard of Jesus Christ.
Agreed.
That's the piece that keeps the thread that keeps coming through with your conversation.
Mm-hmm. Jesus told us to make disciples of all nations, and this is a way to do that. everybody doesn't have the skills and they're not called to go stand on a street corner and preach or preach from a pulpit or whatever. This is a way where you can help be an evangelist to somebody you don't even know. And you may impact a life in ways that you can't even imagine. Just like the story about Alex. Mm-hmm. You can't even imagine that. But that's what another emphasis is, that it's not just the shoebox, nor not just the shoebox gifts. It is these programs that talk about Jesus Christ all over the world. And that is so powerful. And I want to emphasize that. And that you can do a part of that. Everybody that's listening to this program can be a part of that.
I think the other thing is the idea that, I don't know, you might be a very busy person, or you might be somebody that says, well, I want to do something, but I usually just make a donation. You have clearly opened a door, a way a person can make that donation and be recognized for their own purpose by just simply going online and saying, boom, here's $30, or you might say, I want to do 6 shoeboxes and here's $180, and send them out. And they'll be notified. It's like, wow, you've just made a huge step forward. Mm-hmm. You don't have to feel like that you got to be part of a group. If you're an individual at home and you say, well, I'm just thinking about this, that's not an excuse anymore. If you want to help, there's a way to help.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Agreed. And, just like I told you earlier, just the experience of volunteering up in Boone, for short term before I did the year round as well. They always tell you, or most of the time they tell you when they can, where your boxes are going that you're inspecting and packing. 2 years ago, when we were up there, all our boxes that those 3 days were going to your children in Ukraine. And obviously, the needs in that area. Another year when we were up there, they were actually going to an unknown country. They wouldn't tell us because it was one of those dangerous countries where the Christ is not welcomed and Christianity is not welcomed. So it's all over the but there are little countries that you don't even know exist that these boxes will go to.
And we see flickers of that occasionally on mainstream media, but it's very seldom. But we're talking countries that are just embedded with everything from slaughter to mayhem to murder to just totally out of control. And we think about, how could we help change that? There's your answer.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. And once again, I'll just emphasize this. It's a privilege to be a part of a ministry like that.
When you think about what you do also, if somebody's watching this show today and they'd say, well, I'd like to reach out to Tommy Newton and say, Tommy, can you stop by our church or can you come do a presentation? You're open to that as well.
I've already done 3 of them this year and have a couple more on my calendar. And so, yes, I'm happy to help encourage people in that way.
Can folks reach you by sending you a card, or how's the best way to get up with you? Because they're obviously not going to get you calling the clinic anymore. So.
That's true. Well, probably the simplest way would be to, if you want to get in touch with me personally, is just maybe somehow since we're doing it through this avenue, go through this show.
Absolutely.
And reach out to you via email because you spread your email.
Absolutely.
And you know how to get a hold of me, and I'll be happy to do that.
And we'll be happy to be a part of that journey forward. And of course, we got a number of folks at Star and the radio station too that are very strong faith-based people. And I know they would be willing to participate with that as well. Mm-hmm. So I want to thank you for being with us today. I want to encourage you to continue a lot of the projects you've taken on, to include your Bible study project, of which I try to participate in as often as possible. But keep us in mind in any way we can help message and support the journey of Jesus Christ in people's lives. We want to do that.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us today, and we always look forward to seeing you every week right here on Star Communications TV, WCLN Radio, and as always, may God bless.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of We Should Know with host J.W. Simmons. If you have a question, comment, or suggestion regarding this or any episode, please send your emails to weshouldknowedu@gmail.com. And remember to tune in every Tuesday at 2:30 for another informative episode of We Should Know.